Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to present to you tonight Governor Tim Pawlenty.
Well, thank you very much. Or as President Obama would say, you're welcome. I'm delighted to be here with you tonight, the Merrimack County Republican Committee. Thank you for the invitation, and to each of the committee members and supporters and workers and volunteers in this room, thank you very much for what you do day in and day out. I'm very excited about Lee's leadership and him taking over, and the whole committee that I had a chance to just meet briefly. I had a chance to meet Renee, and thank you for putting up with all that comes with a family that's dedicated to leadership and service. We appreciate that very much. But Lee said something very important when he was up here earlier. He said this is in part about making sure that the people take back their government. Our founding documents say we the people. They don't say we the bureaucrats or we the government employees or we the red tape makers. It says we the people. And finally, with this election of 2010, the people in Washington, D.C. who are supposed to represent us hopefully got the message that the ones who don't listen to the people are going to be held accountable and removed, and the ones who do listen to the people are coming to town. I also want to introduce John Lyons and Bruce Berkey, who are standing back here. These are the folks who have helped me get acquainted with New Hampshire. They were the leaders for my I think Sarah Crawford is still here and somewhere, and she, of course, has been an incredible leader for our efforts as well. Thank you, Sarah. And thank you for your prayers and leadership. We appreciate you and your many, many years, really decades of dedication to democracy and faith and strength for New Hampshire and for our country. Thank you, Cliff. I know there are many people here tonight who share that dedication and those skills and using them for something bigger and more meaningful than just their individual circumstance. But a person who I think personifies that is Jennifer Horn. She was recognized earlier, but this is an individual who has endless talent, boundless talent. She could do just about anything. But she says, you know what, I've been given these gifts and these blessings. I'm going to use some of them for a cause and for a purpose that is beyond just my individual circumstance. And she's been in the arena. She raised her hand and stepped forward and said, my state needs me, my nation needs me, I'll serve. It didn't go like we had all hoped, Jennifer, but your strength and grace and your commitment to our principles and your willingness to keep your head down and keep moving forward is something we respect. Thank you very much for all your time. Talk about Jack in just a minute, but I want to share with you a story. When I was first running for governor thinking about running for governor back in 2001, I had just finished my time as majority leader in the Minnesota legislature. It was 10 years worth of being in the legislature, and I thought, you know, I've done what I can here in Minnesota. And Jesse Ventura was the governor, remember him? And he was thinking maybe about running again, and it was going to be an uphill battle. It's a deep blue state, and of course I'm a conservative, so I thought, you know, it's probably time to turn the page and move to the next chapter in life. But in any event, I decided to run, and I made my little fly around in the state of Minnesota, a two-seater plane, and a friend kind of flew me around on that first day of campaigning. And I didn't have any money, and outside of the Capitol, not many people knew who I was, so like 2 reporters would show up at a stop and a few friends, and you know, it was a little discouraging on that first day, but we landed back in St. Paul, and I was coaching youth soccer that summer and fall. So I took off my suit and put on my youth soccer jersey and whistle and clipboard, and didn't know what to kind of make of the day that just was, and I was walking out onto the field, a beautiful summer day in Minnesota, and these little 7-year-old girls who I was coaching, including my daughter, they come running up to me with great excitement and joy in their voices and twinkle in their eye. This one girl yells out, "Are you running for governor? I mean, are you running for governor?" And I thought, wow, this campaign really works. I've only been at this a day, and my message has already permeated the brains of 7-year-old school children. It's powerful. I can use this for good. And I kind of puffed up pridefully, and I said, yeah, I'm running for governor. And she looked up and she goes, Cool. Can you give me Jesse Ventura's autograph? So coming from the Midwest and a not so big of a state, I'm not well known, but the message and the principles I want to talk to you about tonight are well known and they are well established. And I want to leave some time for question and answers, but I want to share with you this perspective. This is the greatest nation the world has ever known. And we are the most successful and most prosperous nation because we are the freest nation the world has ever known. And that is different than many other cultures over much of time. If you travel the world and study history, as I know many of you have and do, you understand that what separates us historically, what separates us from other cultures and places around the world in large part is because we're free. And what that gives us is the freedom to associate, the freedom to worship, the freedom to dream big dreams, the freedom to have our own business ideas and invent and innovate and be artistic and do all of the things that might constitute our American dream. And when our government, whether it's at the local level or the state level or the national level, crowds in and says, you know what, we're going to push in and take over what was reserved for families, or what was performed by community, or what previously was done by charity, or what might have been done by the faith community, or what might have been done or should have been done by entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurs who start and grow small businesses. Every time they do that and they crowd in, they not only expand government, they not only increase government scope and spending and burdens, but they do something else that's even equally corrosive and equally troubling. They corrode and undermine the American spirit. They say to people, you don't have to worry about it in terms of individual responsibility because government's going to do it. You don't have to get involved in terms of charity or concern for others and love and faith and community and neighborhood and family because we're going to take it over with these programs. You don't have to worry because the private market, we're going to do it as government. And every time they do that, they not only make us less efficient, they not only make us less dynamic, they not only make us less entrepreneurial, they not only begin to have our dreams be less than they were, they corrode not just that, they corrode the American spirit. And all of us who understand that, all of us who know that, need to do what you're doing here tonight. It's a Monday night, you could be a lot of different places, and you're saying by your presence involved with the Merrimack County Republicans, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to show up, and I'm going to fight back, and I'm going to join Lee's cause, I'm going to join Jack's cause, and we're going to take back this country. Talk to you just a second about Jack, because I think he personifies something else that's so important. We're going to restore this country in a lot of different ways. We have to make sure that this country is secure. We also have to make sure if we're going to have opportunity for all of our citizens that's growing and optimistic and hopeful that we have prosperity. And we need to restore the American dream by restoring American common sense. Now, common sense is a word that a lot of people use, but you know what I mean. Different people learn this in different chapters in their life. Some people learn it, of course, from family and from the way they were brought up and from other challenges and successes in their life. You have, as your new party chair in New Hampshire, somebody who has a background similar to mine. So this is an individual who's now very successful, both politically, obviously, in leadership and service. But if you go back and replay the tape from the beginning, you'll see an individual who understood and realized the American dream. And it's a compelling, inspiring story. But one part of it is Jack and his family start a cleaning service. And the hours are really long. The clients are very demanding. The responsibility and the industriousness that goes into that is almost overwhelming. But guess what? Through initiative, through industriousness, through a dream, through risk-taking, through family, through getting people to buy in, and plain old hard work, you now have a dynamic, successful entrepreneur who's able to be the state party chair because his business is successful. Now you can pass it on and have others, and more are employed. I appreciate you personally. I appreciate what you stand for and your values and principles. But as I mentioned to you privately, you really have lived the American dream. You personify the American dream, and we appreciate you. And thank you for now, in this chapter in your life, saying, I'm willing to give back. I mean, you could take it easy, but you choose to say, oh, roll up my sleeves, and I'm going to give back to my state and my country and my party. God bless you, and thank you. I grew up in a meatpacking town. It was South St. Paul, Minnesota. Back then, the world's largest stockyards and meatpacking plants were located in my hometown. And you can imagine what that might look like back in the 1960s with these huge smokestacks and plants and a lot of blue collars and a lot of grit. But it was a wonderful place to grow up with family and neighborhood and community. But of course, a lot of challenge too. And as that industry started to change, of course, lives and families and paychecks started to change as well. And so I saw a lot of that disruption as those plants and related activities kind of suddenly began to close down. And in my personal case, my mom died when I was 16. And my dad was a truck driver for much of his life, and he lost his job not too many years after that. So at a very young age, you kind of get a look at some of life's challenges, and you have some choices to make about which way you're going to go in terms of work and school and faith and family or some other alternatives. And I'm very blessed that our family united and coalesced, and I was able to get some help and love and support from them and many others along the way. But there's some things you'll learn, and for me in that chapter as well as in public service and my private life as well, and I want to share just a few of those insights of common sense that I think are instructive, not just for me, not just in Minnesota, but for all of us in New Hampshire and for the nation. And the first one is this. Everybody's running around the country as political leaders saying, we got to be pro-jobs. I'm the jobs, governor, or I'm the jobs congressman, or I'm the jobs legislature. It's about jobs, jobs, jobs. Well, here's the lesson. If you want to be able to say how we should grow jobs, ask the people who provide the jobs. Don't go ask the politicians, most of them have not been in the private sector. Most of them have not made a payroll or built a building or added employees or bought equipment or conducted research or commercialized it, do all the things it takes to keep a private economy growing, not a government economy. But when you ask them, they say a number of things. But one of the things they say is this: Governor, or party chair, or legislators, you got to keep my costs competitive, and it's a hyper-competitive world, and those costs can't be going up, they got to be going down. You got to do things to encourage me, not discourage me. You got to give me confidence, not undermine my confidence in what's taking place. So as it relates to taxes, as it relates to energy costs, as it relates to workers' compensation, unemployment insurance lawsuit costs, permitting costs, and the time and expense related to that and much else, there is a cost of doing business in this county, in this state, in this country. And it's not about political rhetoric, it's about just putting it up on the wall and seeing how we're doing compared to other counties, other states, other nations. The fact of the matter is, those costs are too high. And for those who say they need to be higher, they're just flat wrong. We need to make sure we're making our businesses more hopeful and growing. Now, some people say, I'm pro-jobs, but if you listen to them carefully, what they really are is just rhetorically about pro-jobs. They want to do everything the opposite of what I just said. You can't be pro-jobs and anti-business, particularly small business. That's like being, pro-egg and anti-chicken. It doesn't work. So